Sometimes when you learn you can't pick things up, it changes everything. This is my typing table, and I'm spray painting it blue metallic. It's cold and looks like it might snow or rain, so this is not the ideal time to do this. But I want to have this ready to use, like today if I can, for the Singer 6212C or any of the machines I use. I've been moving chairs around to match the cabinets or tables, and unfortunately my walker chair and my wheelchair are both lower than fits a Singer cabinet. So this table, this is an old typing table. I've got it just covered while I'm painting it. I think that even if you don't use a walker and a wheelchair, you should grab these if you can. People are asking $200 for them, and they're wonderful. They're on wheels. Whatever I put on there, I can roll around. So today, I'm making a new sewing table. Now here's kind of the problem. This is a Singer number 40 cabinet, which takes any of the large machines. And I have a blanket on it. But there you see the cabinet. Regular height. I don't have it on a dolly. And I do have a board. This blanket is protecting the cabinet. But I have an old Singer top on there with the machine sitting on it. Now, these machines won't go down into a cabinet. You have to buy a sewing table that has a recessed table to hold the machine, which I don't want to do right now because I may want that after I move, but not right now. But what happens, and it's hard to tell with this blanket in the way, what happens is the sewing height with a machine like this that won't go down into the cabinet, the sewing height is way up here. So a normal chair that fits under the cabinet, you're reaching up to sew. Now my typing table is about at least 3 inches shorter, which will bring the whole thing, first of all, the blanket won't be there, the board won't be there, there'll be a mat, but it drops everything down at least this far, which is a much more comfortable way to sew. I think it's another design flaw with the 80s machines that they took the hinge pins out of the back. I don't know why they would do that, because I've had this cabinet for 45 years. And 45 years, and my mother had a 500A in it. She took the machine out of the cabinet. I grabbed the cabinet. It's not in good condition now. It needs refinishing on the other side. I don't put glasses or anything on it yet. There are rings on it, so I don't know if they were there before and now they're showing up. But it's 45. I've had it for 45 years, and it's a wonderful piece of furniture. And Singer should have realized, in my opinion, that they didn't need to take the hinge pin holes out of, as the machines got newer, people could use their 45-year-old cabinets. You know, and the old cabinets were made with solid wood, not this fiberboard stuff they're using today. So I think it was a mistake on Singer's part, because they may sell sewing tables now, but I haven't really seen them common. And it's just one aspect of their business that they let go by the side, focusing on putting the least amount of investment into making a halfway decent sewing machine. So, but anyway, the typing table is going to be much better for sewing height. Now, unfortunately, I had the Model 20 out today. I was going to use the 99 for something. Yesterday, there were 3 calamities all at once, all involving the landlord, a sewer pipe, smoke detectors, and people coming and going. And I had multiple seizures all day because I had also been picking things up when I wasn't supposed to be. And I think it's going to sound weird for people that don't have epilepsy, but you can kind of get stuck where it's most comfortable to do something. And because I was working on this machine at the time, I think I'm kind of stuck with this machine for a little while. It usually, when this happens, it just takes me a while to work my way out of it again. But anyway, so I'm painting that table so I can have this at a lower height, and I'm going to use the number 40 cabinet right now just to hold thread spools, pin cushions, elastic, all the notions you need. Just so you know, metallic paint is just slightly different than regular Rust-Oleum spray paint. This is fine, it's done, but it's a little bit spotty. I think you can see it there. You know, which isn't going to matter to me. It was just really bad as white because I get everything white dirty. I think that's what white is for, to get it dirty. So anyway, it'll be better in blue. And just to let you know, it took about 3/4 of a can of Rust-Oleum metallic blue spray paint, and I think it's a 12-ounce can, to do the table. So now it's dry to the touch, and I can bring it indoors to dry more fully before I put the sewing machine on it. Okay, here's the table indoors. And you can see the difference between the number 40 cabinet, and we're just going to measure the height difference. 3 3/4 inches, basically, which is quite a bit. That's quite a bit. So, and it's an 11-ounce can of Rust-Oleum spray paint in cobalt blue metallic. This is going to work out great. It's pretty. I was going to paint the top of my kitchen table that color. I'll have to get more paint now. Chevy blue. We had like a 65 Chevy Malibu wagon. Anyway, with the machine, some of the attachments that I've had for full-size singers aren't going to work completely on this. One example is the circular stitcher, and let's fix the light so we don't get a glare. And as for the touch and sew machines, which came, I think, after this. No, those are the 600s. Anyway, you can put it on here, and you can make circles as small as about 2.5 inches, but not 1-inch circles. And then you can make larger circles than 2.5, but you can only go down to 2.5. Now, so that's one thing to think about. These are actually snap-on presser feet, but they're presser feet with typical Singer difference. I have a whole set of presser feet that are snap-on, and you can generally buy them in sets like this. But you can see on this adapter that once this is on the machine, like that, to get the foot off, you squeeze that lever forward, and that releases the foot. On theirs, they do it a little differently. So there's, I've changed the foot, and this is how you have to change a foot on the 6212C. You lift your presser foot, and you lift your needle to the highest position, which it just about is at, and push up on the toes of the foot, and just take it off. And then, when you go to put it back on, there's a little metal post. You line that up on the metal post, and it'll go down on the metal post, and then to get it to click into place, you push the presser bar down, push the screw down, and then now you have changed your foot. So if you wanted to use a complete set of snap-on feet, and because of what I've gone through with the clearance issue of zigzag, you want to make sure that they're the same width as what your needle will go at or what your needle is set at. But if you want to use those, you can, as long as they'll go on the machine in the same way. And if they won't, you can use the adapter that comes with them. And then because this is a zigzag machine, the flower foot will work fine. So the only limitation so far is the circular stitcher. And the reason the bed is that short is the pillar is that wide. That's how wide the pillar is. It's a big, thick one. So the table itself, I can't actually sit in my chair right now because there's something in it, but the table itself gives me more than enough room for everything. I've started cutting out the fabric for the curtains. I'm starting by just cutting 4.5-inch squares that will be sewn into 9 patches. So that's enough space. I'm going to be doing those curtain panels and also wall quilts. So this is about almost 20 inches to the left from the needle, and I could move the machine over to the right a little more if I wanted to. But this is enough where it will support even a bigger quilt going over the edge of the table. A brand new sewing table. Okay, now I am in my chair. You can see this is comfortable. So when I pull up here, and I'm going to have to move that one box I have, the wheels of the walker go on either side. It's perfect. The walker used to bump into the legs of the cabinet, the number 40 cabinet. And even though I've had surgery to correct my one leg problem, I still really need my walker most of the time. So anyway, here's the machine. And, I guess this is kind of typical with the way things have been going with things being a little nuts lately. I'm making a couple more face masks, and I've just gotten a response from some of the people I'd made the 5-layer face masks for. And they like them, it fits, all good. And I realized that part of the reason I decided to fix this machine, well, it's more expendable than my antique machines in a lot of ways. That's probably why I got to the point where I just couldn't sell the antique machines. It's lighter weight. I can pick it up. The other one like it is the Brother, but the Brother doesn't quite have the power that this machine has. And this will go over all the elastic of the face mask without even blinking. So it explains why I was like, no, I'm not going to get rid of this machine. But the plastic machines are washable in the sense where I can wipe this down with vinegar, or even what I've been doing is, and don't do this with antique machines, I've been putting like Formula 409 on a tissue and then wiping the machine down. That'll disinfect it. Now, a lot of people, a couple of people have said that I'm overreacting with that. But like I said yesterday, we had some calamities, and I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the house all of a sudden that had been in about 100 other houses within the past 2 days. There's a town law, they have to do something with the smoke detectors every year, and they've been putting it off because of COVID, and they couldn't put it off anymore. So this crew, the other guys were doing the sewer line, but 3 of them had been in 100 different houses in a couple of days. So yes, I'm still disinfecting everything. You know, I've got some of the antique machines packed up, and I can leave them there. And I am still figuring out what cabinet and what machine, and yes, I still have a couple extras, but I don't know where I'm going to end up for moving yet. But I think during the seizures of working on this machine and moving too much and all of that, I hung on to this because I can make the face mask with it. Now, like I said, I have started to cut out the fabric for the curtains, but that's also something, if I had to, I could do by hand. So in my case, with the whole rent issue coming up again, if I should end up in a shelter or something, I can make curtains. So I've started to cut up the fabric for that. A Model 20 is the lightest machine. If I can't pick things up at all, or that gets worse, then I will be using the Model 20 all the time, probably. But anyway, this machine is going to make face masks and finish a quilt that I just have a little bit to do on it. And then I have a wall quilt I have to quilt. And it can also make my clothes that I already have planned. So it explains why I hung on to it. I've been looking on eBay, and another one just like it ranges from $50 to $275. So I still feel this is a really great old machine. A little bit finicky, maybe, but not really. Not as finicky as the 500A. So, you know, it's just, coronavirus has changed everything. And in the past 2 weeks, because I shouldn't have been lifting anything, and I was, it took me a few days to figure out, well, why are you picking this one instead of all the others? And that's why. It's heavy duty and strong enough to make face masks and can be disinfected more easily. Can you imagine? I can't put vinegar on my grandmother's machine. That's why I started calling it Graham's machine again instead of my 99, because I was telling myself, don't put vinegar on your grandmother's machine. So happy sewing.